What's good, YouTube? Back from the tedious grind on the World Championship qualifier event, where I got to face the most skillful and diverse decks in any past Master Duel metagame. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, it's the Shizu tier limits with an emphasis on the Shizu. I'll be showing you the Floowandereeze deck that I used to get to round 2 here. So yeah, just going through the deck list right now. Before I get started with that, actually, I should have just mentioned that I'm using Floowandereeze specifically because the amount of tier limit decks that I've been facing on this ladder specifically was just insane. Like, it's usually on the regular ladder as well, but I feel like that still has like a mix of like anti tier limit decks. But yeah, definitely in this qualifier event, it was just nothing but tier limits. At least that's been my experience. Before I was running this deck, I was using Sprite, and that was just not enough. I literally just needed to make like an anti tier limit deck. So this is exactly why I just crafted the rest of the Floowandereeze archetype, and this is exactly what led me to get into round 2. So yeah, starting off with the deck list, we got 2 DD Crows. This is specifically for the tier limits. Obviously, they banish the cards in the grave, so they can't fusion summon. And this is just really neat, specifically on Floowandereeze, because you can search this with Robina. We got one Effect Veiler. This is just for the Kikalos. If they ever summon that, we just want to have more negates. And it's like, it's in between Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence what I want to use. But I find like if you Max C, because I do run Max C in my build, if you're drawing off a Max C and you already have a board established, Effect Veiler is just better in that case. So that's why I run one Effect Veiler and one Infinite Impermanence. 3 Robina. This is just Heart and Soul, the best starter in the engine. You can just get summon this card, get any of the other Floowandereeze cards, preferably Eglin, and then you go into your tribute summons. Next, we got 3 Eglin, standard of course. This searches out these 4 cards right here. We got 2 Stry. This is to banish any of the monsters, which would work well against the tier limits like perfectly if it just wasn't for the Shizu engine, because with the shufflers, what the Shizu engine has, it can neglect like basically what this effect is trying to do, and if it doesn't banish the card in the graveyard, then you won't be able to get the normal summon. So this is kind of like iffy when you use it, but if they don't have the Shizu shufflers in the graveyard, this card is great. Next, we just have 1 Toucan. This is just probably the worst card in the archetype, specifically with the monsters. But we still run 1 because in case we have like any of our spells or traps, Floowandereeze spells and traps banished, you can bring it back with Toucan. Next, we run 3 Maxis. This is because tier limits special summon a lot. Any other archetype really does too, like Exorcisms, everything. This card is only dead against like specifically a mirror match with Floowandereeze because they don't special summon. Next, we got 3 Ash Blossoms. This is just very standard. You want to use it in every deck. Next, and this is the card I crafted because of just the amount of tier limits I've been facing, Dimension Shifter. Great card, works well in this deck, synergizes very well. Next, we got Mist Valley Apex Avian. This is specifically to negate any monsters, and you want to be summoning this off of the trap card, the Dream Town, I believe this is called. Yeah, the Dreaming Town. And you specifically also kind of might consider this if like they're going straight to the battle phase, because then you know an evenly match is coming up, and this is like the only card that can protect against the evenly match. Next, we got Ryza, the Mega Monarch. This is again something to be normal summoning off of the Dreaming Town, where you want to interrupt your opponent's combos. But for turn 1, setting up your board, you always want to go into the next card, which is Empen. This is able to just floodgate your opponent out if they have attack position monsters. Search any of the spell and trap cards from the archetype, so you have every great card. This is usually what you want to end off with on your opening board. Next, we got 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. I would run a 3rd evenly matched, but I'm just not like, I don't care enough to craft a 3rd one, so I'm just running the Harpy's Feather Duster. Still great, helps bait out the counter traps that the tier limit cards like to run. Next, we got Terraforming. This is specifically search out the 1 limited, 1 magnificent maps, which is okay. The field spell is great. I meant to say Terraforming. I might cut this out. Might want to craft a Pot of Duality. It's probably a better card with this because this can be very bricky if you just like already use your 1 field spell. Next, we got 2 Pot of Extravagance. Works well with this deck because we do not care about this extra deck. Next, one Pot of Prosperity. This is again if you want to get that one card for your combos or for like any of your follow-ups or backups with hand traps. You just run the one Pot of Prosperity. Again, one of the field spells is limited. You can only run one. Great field spell. Carries the deck really hard. You always want to have that opened up as well. Next, we got Two-Dimensional Fissure. This is great against the matchup. Even if you go second, you could just lay this down, or like even if your first turn is interrupted, you could just lay this card down, and you can kind of rely on it to like at least get you through the turn for follow-up plays. So yeah, we just want to run this because we want to make it anti-graveyard as much as possible. Next, we run one Unexplored Winds. This card's great, especially when you have like a little bricked up with like the level 5 or 7 or higher winged beast monsters, because you can mulligan those cards to draw 2 extra cards, or and it also allows you to tribute off your opponent's cards on the field. So it just works great with Dreaming Town. So yeah, we definitely want to run one of this. Next, we run 3 Advent of Adventures. This helps a lot with the consistency of the deck because you can get either your starter or you can get your field spell, and it can also help avoid like imperms or veilers that your opponents might have. So definitely want to run 3, helps the consistency. Next, we run 2 Evenly Matches. This is a great card. This is like the best card when your opponent's already set up and you're going second, because this deck kind of faults at going second. But if you have this card in your hand, or you draw it, or you get it off of Pot of Prosperity or Pot of Extravagance, you can use Evenly Match to basically even the field out, and you can combo off with the rest of your cards. So yeah. Next, we run 1 Infinite Impermanence. This is a great card to just specifically negate Kikalos' effect. And then finally, we have 1 Dreaming Town. This is usually the card you want to search off of with Empin, so you can follow up on your opponent's turn, and you can go into your Rise of plays or your Apex plays. So yeah, that's it for the whole deck list right here. This is what got me to round 2, and I'm just going to show you my replays that I had to go through to get into round 2. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at the replays of the last few games that I needed to do in order to rank up to round 2. Unfortunately, they don't show the opponent's deck list during these events, which is really weird and kind of annoying, but it's whatever. So this is the first game. So I go second for this game. He's playing those Vernalizer cards. So I didn't use Shifter right away, only because I saw that he was going to use this one, which I know this is the card that mills from that archetype. So once he used that, that's when I was going to use the Shifter, because he was forced to banish the card, and that's going to force him to end his turn. And then we get to just go, because we have kind of full combo here, especially after Pot of Extravagance. Even with the Ash Blossom negating my Robina, we're able to use the Advent Adventure to get the field spell. The field spells allow us to combo off and continue our plays. So we're getting the strike, and yeah, right there, he's just going to see that he can't stop this, and we're going to have full combo, full board setup, so it was no point. So this is going to be the second game I needed to get to rank up to the next round. We go second again. I did find myself going second a lot with this deck. I don't know why. I think there's a specific hate from Master Duel developers themselves to make sure Floowandereeze does not go first, because I'm telling you, I went second a lot with this deck. I really need to start recording like these games when they flip the coin, because yeah, I probably have like a good streak. But anyways, so it's gonna be against tier limits again. Like I said, it's nothing but tier limits in this whole event. So thankfully I had the Ash Blossom Maxi. I was able to summon all those cards, or activate all those cards to draw with Maxi, use the Ash Blossom. They still go into Kikalos. They're going to go to Havness. They're going to search Havness, I meant to say. And they're just going to set one to pass, which is not going to be enough, especially because I have the Dimension Fissure. If you're going to do Mass Change 2, and this is exactly why I just love using Floowandereeze against this matchup, because they're going to use Maxi to kind of chain everything as much as possible, which is not going to do anything. So now I get to just full combo. He's going to see that he can't do anything, especially since Maxi is useless. So I just free win right there. Alright, on to game 3. This time I actually got to go first. Hand's looking pretty good with all these hand traps. Robina starter, best starter in the deck. Get to go full combo here. Search the Eglin going to Empin. And then we're going to be searching the Dreaming Town trap card. And we could just set, and this is going to be enough because we have Dimension Fisher with Max C's. This is perfect. Now, I would like to mention, I can see why it's like not really intuitive to combine decks that have Dimension Fisher with Effect Veiler and Max C, because those specific hand traps need to go in the grave. But it's just like you're going to find moments where like you don't have the combo like this, and on top of that, they are kind of chainable, so it's just like it's perfectly fine. That's why I always wait for Dimension Shifter to chain to something. I don't just like blatantly use the effect. And you're going to see right here, I actually do use the effect right here because I changed it off the Harpy's Feather Duster, or else it's not going to be live anymore. So I chain all of that with Max C, the trap card, go into M-Pin full combo. Got to go to Apex Avion. I just go right here because I don't know what his deck is like. And thankfully I did, because he had the evenly matched, so I got to negate that with the Apex Avian. He just ends his turn, so it clearly didn't have a good hand. I wish I was able to confirm this opponent's deck, but I'm pretty sure it's probably tier limits or some graveyard reliant deck, because there's no way you could play through that. So I'm just going full combo here, and pretty soon, yeah, he just forfeits right there. So yeah, so now the next game is going to be my rank up game, so we'll get right into that. So this is my rank up game. Of course I go second. I'm telling you, it just always happens with me. I see the Pod of Duality, then I see the Robina, and I'm like, oh my goodness, of course a mirror match. This is not going to look good, but thankfully, like, this is how you're going to determine who's winning the mirror match, is if whoever has the Ash Blossom and whoever has the evenly matched, because those two cards kill this deck, like, whenever board they have. The Ash Blossom goes through, he just ends his turn right there. As you can see, like, that's probably the weakest point about the Floowandereeze deck, is they kind of hard lose to Ash, unless you chain block it accordingly, but you would need to have a good hand to set that up. But yeah, I'm able to just go full combo here. M-Pin. Yeah, get the Dreaming Town. And yeah, they just quit. So yeah, that's it for my deck list. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.